It's Friday, December 12th. I'm done trading for the day, so I put together my recap for the week. It's another break even week, which is such a bummer. This is my first full week trading MNQ for the first time, and I was hoping I could say it was a great week and it was awesome that I switched to MNQ. What a good change, etc. But unfortunately, that is not necessarily the case. But definitely some interesting insights from looking at my data for the week. My goal this week was to be more selective on my trades, but also trust my gut on my trades and actually listen to it. And honestly, I think I traded like perfectly this week. For the first time in a really long time. I pretty much have no notes on my trades. I did make a mistake Tuesday that I'll talk about. Um, but I feel like I traded really well. I listened to my gut. Like if I saw a trade setup I liked, I took the trade. If for some reason I didn't like it, I think that happened once, I didn't take it. And that was a losing trade. So I was like glad I did, I listened to my gut. And that's something I really wanted to work on because I've been struggling with knowing if I can trust it. So let's talk about the trades. Monday was a really sleepy day. Price, it did move a lot, but it moved so slowly and without like strong conviction. I did make 9 points. I have my stop trails, and I kind of forgot. Um, I left it at 30 points, and I forgot about that. So I made 9 points. I entered here and I was very close to getting stopped out right here twice. I was a point from getting stopped out. It's before price went in my favor. I hit break even somewhere around here. I got stopped out. And then ultimately it actually did hit my first TP, which my face is covering. But yeah, so Tuesday I then took a loss. What a bummer to start the week with a break even and a loss. Um, this trade was my only like questionable trade. So this was my worst trade, but not terrible. It's actually a very similar setup to the trade I took Wednesday. And I've seen this a few times. It just, the price action leading up to my entry was not beautiful. Um, so I entered at the red candle here. Now here's where I made my mistake. I did not put my stop correctly. Um, I enter trades based on an offset of my stop, which is kind of an unusual way to enter trades. I don't see most people enter this way, but that way I don't have to do the math in my head. I don't have to enter a trade and later realize I'm risking more than I want to risk. So I did not put it correctly though. So my stop should have been below the candle. And now, like, this is a hard rule that I have written down now. And if I did that, I probably still would have gotten stopped out. It's kind of hard to say just by looking at the chart. Like, if I did it correctly, where would I have actually put my stop? I either would have gotten stopped out by like one or two ticks, or if for some reason I was generous on this, which I don't think I would have been considering how big that candle was, I may have been saved by a tick or two. So this is a really good example of like, well, one, there's a lesson in this that I feel like I'm gonna hopefully not make this mistake again. But also just an example of like, even if I did do it correctly, just kind of unlucky, because I think I would have barely got stopped out and then hit my first TP, not my second. But yeah, so kind of a rough start to the week. Wednesday, I finally had a win. I got 55 points. This is the same setup from yesterday though. So I took a long, again at the red candle, took heat immediately, probably 10 points from getting stopped out, and then got TP here. This was kind of, I had some anxiety in this trade. I mean, look at these candles. These aren't very strong candles. So I think that the trade only was like 10 minutes, but it didn't move very aggressively. So I got 40 points on one contract and then about 15 on the second contract. And then I don't think there was another setup that I liked. Thursday was another winning day, so I was pretty excited. I made 75 points. I took a short here. I got 40 points on one contract and 35 points on the second contract. I then kind of hesitated on a trade here, but I'm not going to say I hesitated. I didn't like the look of it. I'm trusting my gut. I decided not to go with it. I'm okay with that. And then I did enter a trade up here, and I got stopped out at break even. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this after going over all the trades. But this was finally, there was a day where like there was some movement. It wasn't sleepy like it was Monday and Tuesday. Friday, I lost 70 points and I gave back my gains. So this is what put me at break even. I took a trade. I tried to enter a second trade and I did not get filled by 3 ticks. Another example of just like kind of unlucky because that trade was a winning trade. So I entered a short here. I wasn't in profit for very long, got stopped out. I then tried to enter here. This was just one contract, so I still would have been red even if I got in. 3 ticks I didn't get filled by. What a bummer. You know, sometimes there's times where I feel like, man, I wish I was tighter on my stop. And then there's times where I wish I was more generous on my stop. As I talked about in the previous day where I got lucky, I didn't get stopped out. So finding the balance, I have to be consistent on how I place my stop. It's not exact science. I kind of just eyeball it because the ticks are so small. It's hard to be perfect. It's easier on MES to do like 1 point above the wick, but it's kind of hard to do that on MNQ because of how small the ticks are. So yeah, no fill. This would have been a winning trade. If I entered with 2 contracts, it would have been a max win, which I've never had a max win before. So kind of a bummer, but it's really important that like after a loss, one, that you're not then entering trades just based off emotion. Like I really had to make sure this was a trade I liked, and it wasn't just because I was trying to make something back. I liked the trade, and then also the fact that I didn't get filled, like it's important to not let that destroy your state of mind and just start taking random trades. So that's not something I'm generally prone to, but what I do struggle with is just making sure I'm taking quality trades every time. So after looking at all my trades, I took 6 trades this week, tried to get in on 7 or 8. I think there was another trade I didn't get filled. I don't remember though. Let me take a look. Okay, I think there was a trade from Wednesday I tried to come in on but didn't get filled. As I was going over it, I saw it and I was like, I think I would have taken that. I think I tried. I didn't get filled. So I tried to enter, 7 trades? And anyways, looking at all my trades, the ones I got filled, ones I didn't, I feel like I have basically no notes. Like I liked all of those setups, and this is the first time in a really long time where I can say that, where I feel like I didn't make a mistake on my entry, where I saw something that wasn't there, like I made up whatever I was seeing. I liked all of my entries. So I feel like I have good data. A lot of times I feel like my data is no good because they're based on bad setups, bad entries. So I looked at my data. Now, just on the trades that I took, if I did not do break even and I didn't trail, I would have more points. I'd be up 100 points instead of down 3/4 of a point, which is really interesting based on just the same trades that I took this week. A lot of times when I go back and I look at my trades, I'm like, well, if I had taken this one and didn't take that one, this is where I could be at. And it's kind of pointless because it just doesn't matter if I took this trade. It doesn't matter, right? I didn't take that trade. But based on the actual trades I took, if I didn't do break even or trail, I would have hit my second TP twice and not be break even. Instead of being break even, I would have hit my TP twice. So let me go back and talk about that actually. Monday. So on my entry here, instead of getting stopped out at break even, I would have had 40 points down here. I know I'm covering it, but and then been 0 on my second contract. So I would have made 40 points. It's really nice to be at break even though. It's really a good feeling when I'm trailing and knowing that I'm locking in profits. But if the data is showing me that I'd have more profit if I didn't do that, I think it's something I'm going to have to try. Now, Wednesday's case, I would have less profit. I would have gotten 40 points on one contract, but because price didn't move much more than that, probably just got nothing on my second contract. However, it would have only been about 15 points less. So I would have lost by 15 points, like have 15 points less on this day. But from Monday, instead of 9, I'd have 40. So it's 30 point difference. And then Thursday is where it really matters. Instead of getting stopped out on my trailer right here, I would have had a full 80 points on my second contract. So that would have been 120 points on this move. And then instead of getting stopped out at break even up here, I would have had 40 points if I just traded with one contract. So this would have been a total of 160 points if I didn't have break even and didn't trail. And then let's see, Friday's just a loss. But yeah, so I won't talk about that because it doesn't matter. So that's really interesting. And I feel like it's good data. So part of me wants to keep this the same and wait till I have maybe another week's worth of trades to kind of make that final assessment. But part of me also wants to go ahead and make the change and see what my results are. I mean, if I can continue trading the way I traded this week, maybe I'd have good results. I don't know. So I think I'm going to do that. I guess something I do have to decide is like, do I want to do break even at all? If I'm up 60 points, my second contract, do I want to take any of that or do I really want to let all that go? So that's the kind of thing I'm going to have to play around with. But I think I am going to change my trail. I think it's just too tight. It's too tight. So yeah. And that's it for the week. Those are my trades. Honestly, overall, I'm pretty happy with how I traded. I'm happy with the trades I took. I am bummed I didn't make a profit. But I also see that like I could have been profitable if I didn't trail so tight. So these are all things that are part of figuring out your system, and it's part of what makes becoming profitable just takes so long. This is a lot of different moving parts that you have to iron out. But yeah, other than that, I am generally happy with my trades, and I'm excited to trade next week. I hope you had a good trading week. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week.